Hello, everyone, and welcome now to Game 4 in this series. Wow. Yeah, maybe I should clear my throat before I start casting the game, but then again, that takes away a little bit of the live thing. I've seen Grubby, Husky, and Day 9 all start choking on a live stream, and I guess this just proves to you that I am doing this semi-live, no editing, none of that. Anyways, this is gonna be Game 4 in a team cup between Root and Alicia, as we see Root spawning as the blue Zerg, meanwhile Alicia spawning as the red Protoss. Alicia has given Axiom a very, very comfortable lead, winning the first 3 games. Now taking a 3-0 lead over Root. Root, I believe, down to its last leg, last life in this, what I believe to be a best of 7 series. And we'll see how all of this goes. Will Alicia continue the onslaught and do an all-kill, or will Root make this series will Root make this series a little bit more interesting and then perhaps actually make a play or make a bit of a run? Now, interestingly enough, we see Alicia once again going for a gateway expand. I say a gateway expand just because he's getting a gateway before he's expanding, and I do believe he will be going for that mothership core. The strategy behind this, he goes for the gateway, he goes for the cybernetics core, and he gets the mothership core. That mothership core will then protect this natural expansion. There are some ups and downsides to this build, obviously. The downside is that you do not really get that much, you really don't get as many minerals as you would, say, if you place down your Nexus first, and then did a forward fast expansion. Oh. Yeah, still fighting a bit of a cold, excuse me. But at the same time, you do get your warp gate tech a little bit faster, so it is much safer. Now, taking a look at what's happening here, Alicia did place down a pylon to prevent Yu-Gi-Oh from setting up his own hatchery. He will spot that the spawning pool is already down, and with that, I do believe that Alicia will most likely just cancel that pylon. The canceling of the pylon absolutely necessary, because 4 Zerglings would have been able to just come down the ramp and take it down in a matter of seconds anyways, thereby only adding a little bit of delay. He does get 75 minerals back as the probe now taking a look around to see what it can see. Nexus has come down, warp gate tech already coming in, and we should be getting that mothership core. There's the chrono boost now. Out comes the mothership core. And the mothership core is just gonna meander all the way over here and then shoo away all of these pesky Zerglings. The Zerglings are not going to be able to do much of anything. The probe just backing away instead. The Zerglings thinking that they can actually take down this Nexus, even though the shields are are still increasing here, as there is another pylon back over here. Mothership core now making its way over. It's going to get in some easy damage, perhaps trying to take down this pylon instead. And this is the mothership core expand. Even if your opponent goes for a pool first, as long as it isn't a crazy variety, you are able to set up your Nexus. If, however, Yu-Gi-Oh had gone for a much more aggressive pool first, then Alicia would have had time to throw down another gateway. He would have been able to chrono boost out the Cybernetics on the Cybernetics core and get that warp gate tech that much faster. We are now moving into the middle game. It is going to be 3 bases to 2, and Alicia looking very strong at this point, similar to all of the previous games that he's played in this series. Meanwhile, Yu-Gi-Oh actually not looking too shabby either. It is even on drones, which is rather normal for this time in the game. But I am curious as to whether or not Yu-Gi-Oh will be going for a very heavy Roach push. You can see the Roach Warren is already down, but we don't know if that is supposedly an aggressive Roach Warren or a defensive Roach Warren. Defensive meaning he's just going to create enough roaches to try and defend. Aggressive Roach Warren would obviously be some sort of attack here, as the Zerglings now trying to chase. Oh, Zerglings need to take down both of these pylons. This could be very bad, as the mothership core now coming over. Alicia could make this into a very interesting game already. You can see the probes are still being trained, but sentries now warping in. And with the Mothership Core in the air, and only a couple of queens on the field, Root Yu-Gi-Oh is in trouble. Root Yu-Gi-Oh does have 52 supply though, and he is getting in 6 more roaches, so this could be enough. Those roaches to try to battle everything else, but Alicia is still reinforcing, and this is going to get rather dangerous. In comes the Zerglings. Here comes the attack. The Queen now trying to take down these units. Roaches now coming in as well. A beautiful engagement as the Roaches are still battling it out. Roaches against all the ground units here, and all the Zerglings get taken down. And this has been a beautiful push. But Yu-Gi-Oh looks like he will be able to defend it ever so slightly. There's that Time Warp, a very, very aggressive spell. Does that Mothership Core get taken down? No, it does not. The Queen needs to get back onto creep and will be able to do exactly that. Roach is now trying to make their way over, as the Zealot will most likely be gunning for that Queen. All right, a beautiful protection on the Queen there. The Roaches do push their way back, as we see perhaps more Queens. No additional Queens being added at all. This is a huge surprise, as the Queen is going to get sniped here. That is a beautiful play by Alicia, knowing that the shields recharge faster than the hit points on a Queen. A new Queen now being brought over, and this is what I was a bit surprised about. Are we perhaps going to see a recall? No, we do not. Yu-Gi-Oh does get the kill on the Mothership Core at the cost of a Queen. Not a bad trade whatsoever, as we now see 16 workers here in the main base and 15 down here at the natural. Alright, Roaches and Zerglings cleans up this attack. 46 drones to 42. We are now transitioning into Stargate play, as the Mothership Core aggression with double proxy pylon was not enough. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh moving out with these Roaches and these Zerglings. This is a very early game composition. The problem will be is that Alicia is already coming in with a Void Ray. That Void Ray will absolutely shut down these Roaches, and the Roaches without Glial Reconstitution are not going to be able to chase. You can almost see how Alicia is just baiting the attack here, trying to see if the Roaches are going to come inside. Alicia is still chrono boosting out that Stargate, and the Void Ray will pop up just in time, as a Mothership Core is also coming in as well. Overseer now wanting to keep track if the third base has been placed down. A Spire now being placed down to counteract those Void Rays, as we see Alicia looking to take and open up his third base. Alright, Overseer now making its way in, but the Void Ray is going to spot this. There is that prismatic alignment. Poor Overseer gonna get shot down before it really does any serious scouting. One Changeling gets zapped to death by a probe, as Alicia now establishes up his own third base. I wouldn't be surprised now if we do see a drone coming around the corner, and will be establishing up this base at his fourth. And this is going to be a 4-base versus 3-base push, as the Zerglings and Roaches will take down these destructible rocks in a matter of seconds. There it goes. Zerglings making sure that there are no proxy pylons anywhere, as both sides look to get in a little bit of a reprieve, as Alicia now really looking to go into Void Ray transition. Now, I did hear a lot of people wonder what is a good counter to mass Void Rays, and the real answer to that would have to be Queens. The reason why is that Void Rays are usually accompanied by Zealots. Hydralisks do not do very well against the Zealots at all. The Zealots are simply too beefy, can get within range too quickly with that charge, and then slice up all of those Hydralisks. If you do have Queens, though, you can get off a couple of transfusions. Also, with Creep Tumors, you are able to move around much more freely. Corruptors are also a good choice, but the problem is that most Protoss players can easily then transition into Blink Stalkers all of a sudden, and all of those Corruptors are nearly useless. Alright, another Changeling or two have been dropped and taken down again, as the Photon Cannon is guarding that front door. You can see that, pylon block there. No units will be able to walk in all that easily. Alright, Mutalisks are looking to do a bit of pressure. There are Stalkers here. How much damage can be done as the Void Rays now trying to make their way over? Mutalisks do move around relatively quickly with their increased movement speed. A movement speed of 4 now. That is, I believe, about a 5% movement speed, but more importantly, that natural regeneration does cause a bit of problems, as here we go. One Stalker already down. Second Stalker and third Stalker will get taken down, as the Mutalisks are backing away. Void Rays trying to make their way over, cannot engage, as Yu-Gi-Oh looking very strong with this mass Mutalisk harassment, going in between the third base and the main base here, and I do not believe a Mutalisk has been lost. 20 Mutalisks on the field, with one more, I believe, flying on the in here somewhere. Yes, it is going to be flying in just a moment, as Yu-Gi-Oh also using burrowed Zerglings very effectively to gain scouting information. Yu-Gi-Oh does have another base happening over here, as we now see the Mutalisks come in once more. The Phoenixes, however, are nearby, and the Phoenixes do a lot of engagement or do a lot of damage here, and this is potentially huge. You can see that the Mutalisks are unable to engage. The Phoenixes do have an upgraded range over their Wings of Liberty counterpart, but will they be able to catch up? That is the question. Phoenix is trying to get in there, and it looks like it is going to be a slight improvement there. As you can see that the Phoenixes are still coming in. Mutalisk count is now down to 16, as a Queen now getting pushed back once more. Alright, we can see a whole bunch of Spore Crawlers in the center portion of the map. Yu-Gi-Oh catching a couple of Mutalisks out of position, and that was a very nice move there, forcing Alicia to back off when he thought he had all of these Phoenixes and air superiority. Alright, one squadron of Phoenixes still moving around the map here. Void Rays, Stalkers, Zealots, Sentries, triple Stargate coming in from Alicia. We saw this in Game 2, Game 2 or Game 3, as we are now going into the Aeon Pulse Crystals, increasing the range of these Phoenixes even further. It is going to have a range of 7, the same range as a Photon Cannon, Missile Turret, and Spore Crawler that can move and then can also back away while those Mutalisks are engaging. Move while attacking, so effective, as we now see mass Spine Crawlers being added by Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright, Enduring Locust now being added from the Infestation Pit. Always a very nice addition, increasing the range and damage of Swarm Hosts just because they're on the field much longer. What is the follow-up play going to be at this point? Alicia now really just trying to build the proper number of units. He is getting level 1 weapons upgrade. We do have a fleet beacon down, and where is that Cybernetics core? It is getting level 1 armor and then soon to be level 2 weapons. I am surprised that we aren't getting the actual shield upgrades, as the shield upgrades would benefit the Phoenixes as well. You gotta remember that Glaive Worm does bounce, and if you can reduce the damage from the Glaive Worm, it actually reduces the total damage a Mutalisk does by 3, just because the bounce does so much damage. So instead of, I believe, dealing, is it, what, 10-6-3, it does 9-5-2, which is a significant drop-off in damage, especially when you have a large swarm of units. Both sides not ready to engage just quite yet. We can see that there is just gas harvesting down here at this, what I would call 5th base. Drones may be transferred over momentarily. You can see not very mineral patches left. 12 over 18 workers, as the Phoenix hallucination trying to get some easy damage onto an Overlord. Not gonna happen though, as Overlords don't take damage. Nothing takes damage from hallucinated units. Alright, Swarm Host now looking to come in here. They have arrived. They are not walking in any further. I believe if they just walked in further, they could have actually dealt some damage to the Photon Cannons. And this is what I was talking about in terms of range. That range is simply so strong. That Locust moving around and can just start trading damage. I don't know quite what the range is, but that range has got to be over 35 in order to attack. You can see Creep Tubers could actually continue to be added to increase the range of the Locust, as the Locust would move faster even on creep. Meanwhile, Mutalisk now coming inside the main base. Another prong attack over here. Roaches attacking the 4th base. Mutalisk attacking the main base. And a Swarm Host attacking the 3rd base. This is all a beautiful play here, as the Void Rays have arrived. Mutalisk still looking to deal a lot of damage. Perhaps going to catch some probes down over here as well. There you go. There are still 3 Photon Cannons, as the Swarm Host looking to finish off a couple of those Photon Cannons there. Alright, all the Locusts have been pushed back. Meanwhile, a Void Ray push now coming in. Infested Terrans now being dropped off, as the Void Rays do need to back off again. More Void Rays, level 2 air weapons upgrades coming in. Void Rays, Zealots, Sentries, Stalkers all coming online, as well as Alicia losing a bit more in that engagement than he bargained for, but now down to 191 after trading and remaxing close to 13 Infestors. That is a lot of Infestors. He could continue to train them, and then with that many Infestors, Chain Fungal Growth does take down Void Rays rather easily. Alright, what do we have here? There's another Fungal Growth. All the Void Rays going to get shot down in a matter of seconds. There you have it. One quick thing to note. Infested Terrans do not benefit from range upgrades or armor upgrades as they did in Wings of Liberty, so it is not one of those spells that actually get more and more powerful the more upgrades you have. Alright, Swarm Host now looking to come around the far side. There is a Queen off over here, and this has just been absolutely beautiful play. Infestors or Queens are what you need in order to shut down Void Rays, as Void Rays do tend to group up, as you see here. When these Void Rays do move and then start to focus down on a single unit, they do tend to clump up, and when they clump up, they take a drastic amount of damage. As you now see the Void Rays, I don't know how those Void Ray pilots are so good. They are somehow not crashing into each other, being so close together. Alright, Zerglings now doing a bit of a run by here. Swarm Host now coming in as well. The Swarm Hosts do not attack air like they did in the beta, as the Void Rays quickly clean this up. The Zerglings looking to finish this off, and now in comes a group of Phoenixes. Are they going to spot anything? That is key. Infestors, and a lot of them already on the field. We see, what is it? Is that 35 Infestors with 9 more on the way? That is going to be a crazy amount now, as Fungal Growth should be coming in. There's some Infested Terran, and all of those Phoenixes should just get shot down in a matter of seconds. There it goes. The Phoenix is trying to survive, unable to do so, and the Infestor count now drops to 30. Alright, so 30 Infestors, 9 more on the way, close to 40, as Yu-Gi-Oh! Really taking to heart the entire idea behind trading time for units. Anytime you can trade time for units such as Infestor Energy, you can really win out on this battle. Income tab does show that the Protoss is slightly higher in terms of minerals, but gas does all belong to Yu-Gi-Oh! As the Zerglings now try to finish this off here. Alright, in come a group of High Templars. Where are these Infestors? Infestors are still grouped together here. I don't believe that is enough High Templars to finish off all of these Infestors, and the Infestors will continue to just drop Fungal Growths. Here we go, continuing with these Swarm Hosts, and all of these Swarm Hosts are just really winning out on the battle, attacking from a very, very far distance. Alright, Probes now making their way over. Void Rays now making their way over as well. As you can see, the Swarm Hosts are trying to back off. Are they going to be able to get away in time? It looks like they will be able to. Force fields come down. One Swarm Host caught on the wrong side, as all of these units do back off. But a new group of Zerglings have arrived to finish off what the Swarm Host could not, as the Zealots are now battling it up here. Alright, here is a very large Protoss Death Ball. No Colossi, only Void Rays essentially. Stalkers and High Templars, as the Spine Crawlers are here. This could potentially be bad for any ground unit, but with so many air units in the air, this is just going to absolutely destroy in a matter of seconds. There you have it. Alright, Psystorm coming in. Fungal Growth. Swarm Host now coming in as well. Are the Void Rays going to get fungaled? That is a key question. No, they are not, as they do back off. Alicia now sitting on the much larger supply. We can now see level 3 air attack coming in. More drones being trained up. 15 more drones being trained, as this hatchery has fallen. It is now 4 bases to 4, as the Infestors now burrowing and moving across the map. Level 3 air weapons upgrades. All of the Void Rays looking to deal tremendous, terrible damage. 13 damage in attack, 26 damage a second, as we now see a whole bunch of Infested Terrans now getting dropped off here. Alright, a crazy number of Infested Terrans. It doesn't look like this base will get established at all. What's going on, as the units are now all backing off? There's a whole bunch of Void Rays. There's some Infested Terrans. The eggs only at 70 hit points now, as the Infested Terrans now making their way forward. Alright, there's a Fungal Growth. There's a Fungal Growth. Chain Fungal Growth for the win here, as the Void Rays are unable to engage across the majority of the units. Oh my gosh, so much Fungal Growth, so many Void Rays. The damage is being dealt, as fungal growth after fungal growth landing across all these Void Rays. This is just going to be an absolutely devastating loss here in just a second. Infested Terrans, oh, letting them all get away. That was huge as the Void Rays now back off. I don't know how many Void Rays that were, but what is that? All of them except for this one here was low on health. 13 Void Rays, very, very low on health. Alright, Void Rays now backing and going back home. No way to repair the actual damage that they took. You can see that there is armor and shields on these Void Rays. The problem is fungal growth doesn't account for shields, and it is unaffected by armor. Here you go, Infested Terrans now cleaning up what a probe had started. Meanwhile, Zerglings now doing a run by here. This air army is rather slow, surprisingly, as the Zerglings now get underneath. Here we have it, the Nexus about to fall. More Swarm Hosts now looking to come in. Yu-Gi-Oh! Sitting on 190 versus 171 supply advantage. And Alicia loses another Nexus down here at the 4th base. This is all looking very bad. Meanwhile, Yu-Gi-Oh! Able to place down a hatchery here. Will he be able to hold on to it? And this is a dangerous part for Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Needs to trade efficiently and crazily efficiently here in the next couple of moments. Infested Terrans all just getting dropped off. So many fungal growths coming in. That is a lot of Infested Terrans and so much fungal growth coming down. Infested Terrans may be able to finish off many of these units here as another fungal growth does come online. Alright, here we have it. More a queen now being brought over. Infested Terrans, so many infestors. Energy is starting to run low. Swarm Hosts now making their way in. We do have enough for a couple more fungal growths. Is it going to be enough there as the Void Rays now pushing back all of the units? Swarm Host now looking to pull back, as well as Alicia now down to 128. He does have a very relatively large Void Ray army at 10 with 5 Tempests now. But Yu-Gi-Oh! With so many Infestors, Infestor Swarm Hosts looking like the new Infestor Broodlord from Wings of Liberty. Alright, Spore Crawlers now looking to come in. Infested Terrans. Alright, Tempest in the backfield. Swarm Host now looking to come online as well. Spore Crawler after Spore Crawler is getting taken down. Are we going to see some more fungal growth? Yes, we are. A lot of fungal growth, in fact, and so difficult to distinguish the locus between the Infested Terran at any given time, as so many Infested Terrans are getting dropped off. Here you have it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sitting at 166. Observer is now coming over. Down go the last of the Void Rays. A couple of Tempests are all that are left. And with no queens nearby, this Tempest army is going to be able to deal a lot of damage. The problem is that these Tempests are going to be dealing with a lot of Corruptors in just a second. And there is the GG. Alicia losing the game here. No all kill for Axiom. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 4 in the series as Yu-Gi-Oh! Puts Root on the board, even though it is 3-1.